Good evening, Vigo's Court. Welcome one, welcome all. I am your judge tonight, Judge Shepherd. I am joined by my co-host, my cohort, Counselor Q.
What it do? What it do? We're getting to kick off week number 3 finally here. Are you excited or what?
I am so excited. We have some newcomers to season 2 of Vigo's Court, at least. If you guys saw season 1, you might be familiar with them. We are being joined today in their debut for season 2 by Sample Text. So brand new team coming on out. Well, at least a team we haven't seen this season yet. So I'm very excited. Monarchy is a very strong team. So I'm really excited to see how Sample Text is going to do in this game today. I've heard they're also very good. So
Yeah, going to be interesting to see because, Sample Text does bring some experience to the table. You talked about was in season 1 for Vigo's Court. So while they might be new to season 2 and there are going to be things that haven't been seen by not only us as well as the people watching with us today, but also from the competitors, right? So maybe able to throw a couple curveballs in their first week here, but gonna be kind of interested to see. We're still very early on. Most teams have only used, if they've used any S tier killers, they've used one use of them. So they are still on the board. Not sure if we use them here today, but I'm going to guess that if anything, 3 of the 4 are going to be off meta killers today.
yeah. So as far as I understand, they will be picking up. They are filling in for another team that was disqualified from the league. And they will be filling in for them in terms of what like maps and stuff. So they will also be inheriting their killer uses.
Yep.
So it'll be really interesting to see. I still don't believe that DKD used any S tiers, so it'll be interesting to see what Sample Text pulls out of their hat today to show us. I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I think especially because our map itself kind of is not a map that we normally see in the competitive scene, right? So let's go ahead and kind of talk about, because I think it does offer some unique perspectives for both sides here.
Absolutely. Let's talk about our map. We are going to Father Campbell's Chapel today, the Monarchy home map. One of the Crotus Run Asylum maps. It has a 6-hook minimum and an 11-hook maximum. And it is the Monarchy home map, like I said before. It is not, it seems like a large map, but it only has an 11-hook maximum, which you kind of don't see. Like a lot of our larger maps have a 12-hook maximum, so that possibility of having one less, even if you get the map max, is pretty wild to me.
Yeah, we're talking about a map that we have seen in the couple times that it's come up already in Vigo's Court. You've got to be careful where those elimination hooks come in, whether it be by, where you're trying to set up your late game 3-4 gen setup, or whether it be by a door that you might be needing to use that hook later on for somebody, an elimination for somebody trying to go for the exit. So a lot of things at stake here. Also, with Father Campbell's Chapel, you tend to get a decent 3-gen setup, whether it be over on the circus side of the map or over on the shack side of the map. But it's a lot of filler pallets in between. You have the middle building, which can be used for some looping, but otherwise you've only got a couple of tiles that give you like jungle gyms, 4 lanes, stuff like that. Otherwise, it's just a lot of kind of fillers. So those resources can be depleted pretty quick.
Yeah, if you're not careful, you're gonna run out of things to use really quickly. So, while one person is taking chase, the rest of the team really has to be on top of getting objectives done, which, I mean, we haven't really been disappointed by that before with these teams that we've been watching in the first 2 weeks. But yeah, it can be really dangerous, especially the Crotus Pren maps have those really weird bits in between all the jungle gyms where it's like those house shells.
Yeah.
And it's always a 50-50 toss-up. Am I going to get a pallet here, or is this just a shell of a building that I'm going to have to try to run through? It can be really, really dangerous if you aren't careful. And yeah, another really big issue with this map is the 3-gen can be really brutal if you're not looking for it, and if the killer is really, really strict with their 3-gen, like, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, especially because both sides are kind of notoriously known for spawning relatively tight spreads. I wouldn't be surprised to see our survivors on either side being very deliberate about what the first, second, and third gens are that they get done in order to tackle those. But of course, you know, we're probably going to be seeing some corrupt intervention since that is a very common perk choice, which of course then kind of limits some of your options if you're trying to make sure you get some early objective time taken care of, because the killer, of course, is coming after you and trying to get their objective done as well.
Yeah, definitely going to be very interesting to see how these teams navigate this map. But it looks like everyone's going to be ready for you to switch on over here in just a moment. You know what I'm excited for, you guys? My favorite thing about this map is Maurice. I'm excited to see Maurice.
Yes, always got to make sure when you're playing the game, especially in pubs, when you got some time, stop by Maurice. Make sure you give him a little pet for good luck. I know that is definitely something that I have seen there. We are good to go. We are going to let them know we are good to go. And we will see them loading up here. And, you know, I'm excited. I like that our teams seem to be eager and ready to go. It also lets me know that they are probably pretty well prepared. I'm going to be interested to see what kind of strategies we have coming out on either side. One, because we've seen some pretty good Survivor gameplay from Monarchy so far, but also, again, with the map being kind of outside the normal realm, I'm interested to see what they do here. But let's see, make sure we've got all of our offerings, and it does look like we've got that cut coin as well. I love it. I love it. Let's talk about how our killer's going to score some points here, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's talk about it, you guys. So how do killers earn points for their team here? Well, the first and second hook are worth 2 points each. The third hook is worth 3 points. Progressions are worth 1 point less. So if you go from first stage to second stage without your teammates getting you off that hook, the killer actually loses a point. The 7th and 8th progressions are worth 1 point each as well. The 4K gives you 2 extra points, so you gotta kill them all. It's like Pokemon, but, you know, Dead by Daylight. The entity kill is going to be worth the corresponding hook state plus the progression. So you don't get full points for an entity kill, either be it endgame collapse or, you know, be it what it may. Bleed outs are worth 0 points. So go crawl into that corner, my friends. 30 points available for the killer to earn for their team. For more on rules, shout !rules in chat. And let's get this show on the road, shall we, guys?
Yeah, I'm excited. We do have a little bit of a longer load time, it does look like here. But one thing I always like bringing up, especially after seeing the how the killers can collect those points, I always love the ability for our survivors to take away those points, knowing what the bleed out does cause them, right? So it gives you a little bit of an ability, especially if the killer opts to go for those slugs and things like that. You get a little bit of a counterplay, and we are going to see a demo dog coming out here to start it up. You love it to see it, especially with demo dog now being taken out of the store. You can no longer purchase the demo puppy or any of the Stranger Thing DLCs. But I do think the demo pup has some ability to really kind of tackle some of the challenges of this map, with it being a little bit of a bigger map, not all the way being a huge map, but kind of having some different, I guess you can say, environment things to deal with. You do see the portals there give you that ability to traverse the map relatively quickly, especially if you happen to be able to set up a portal up into that top mid area. But also the demo puppy's ability to remove your resources, whether it be pallets, broken walls, and things like that. We are going to see that corrupt intervention and 3 mystery perks, at least as far as at this point. We're also going to see a very early hit. However, Chef Mitchell opting to break away from chase, and it looks like trying to go ahead and spread that pressure around, which is kind of an interesting tactic here, especially because we noticed as we pressed that survivor off of that top middle gen, there were no sparks or anything, which means we don't have any help from Ruin, so you really need to start securing some downs right away here.
Absolutely, gonna be really, really important. And I believe, is this the Eerie add-on that is allowing him to see their silhouettes as he is traveling through his portal?
That is, so that's going to be giving you some extra information there, which is nice, right? Especially when you're coming up, you usually are going to have, you know, we see our killers generally have a pretty good game sense of where people probably should be. But obviously when you're actually traversing the upside down, you can get an actual location. That's very valuable information there. And we are going to see a down now into the corner. It is going to be a nice little bit of a time wasted there by All for Demo, trying to pull the demo as far away as possible, especially because we do see that corrupt intervention is now off of all of those generators as well. That's going to be hook number 1. Can't help but bring up the point, though. We have not seen a generator come across yet, which means we probably have a very good spread of pressure amongst those gens. Wouldn't be surprised to see a pair of them pop here shortly.
Absolutely, and it does look like everyone has been reset who was injured, except for, of course, Domo on the hook there. So survivors are trying to stay on their feet, which is going to be very important because that shred can be absolutely brutal.
Agreed. Yeah, and you're talking about we already see the save it came in across. We were able to find where they were trying to go for the reset, and you were able to disrupt the reset as well, which does allow us now to bring up another perk that we can talk about now. And it's kind of an interesting one seeing it on the demo puppy, which is that forced penance, which is going to cause Keeperly now to be in that broken status for quite some time. It's going to be some extra slowdown, which also is going to cause the survivors to play it a little bit more patient. That is going to be a swing and a miss, however, able to block down the window. So that's going to be another down, and we have still yet to see a generator pop.
Yeah, the pressure is certainly on. Oh, but there goes our first generator. And also, I don't know if you saw that pop up in the chapel, but I certainly did, Q.
Yeah, we have got that deadlock there, and it's interesting seeing the deadlock coming more into play. It is allowing Chef Mitchell here to now come around and look for some survivors that were in the area that were working on that generator. Whereas I think had the deadlock not be in play there, we might have actually seen those back-to-back generators. Now going to see our survivors, though, going to need to be coming in for the save. Interesting that the blocked generator is right next to your hooked survivor. Really good as far as how that worked out for Chef Mitchell, closing the distance there with the shred attack. Not able to land the shred, but you were able to keep that distance relatively close, working around the actual jungle gym itself. I do not believe Megan's going to be able to make it to that pallet. That's going to be another M1 applied. We now have all 4 survivors are either on a hook or injured here, and Chef Mitchell is staying around the area, should be able to force a second hook state since nobody is going to come close, knowing that the demo is right there. We do see the reset coming into Megan, but I don't think that's going to be in time.
Unfortunately, it does look like we are going to see Ace go to second stage here, but for another gen to pop up in the carnival, which is one of those areas we were talking about, can have a really nasty 3-gen centered around it.
Yeah, and kind of interesting to see Chef Mitchell now opted to come over here, especially seeing as the farthest most gen is done. You do have a pretty decent generator spread, as we can see Chef Mitchell looking back, probably going to be trying to put some pressure onto that top middle gen. Oh, no, not the top middle gen. I was going to say, because the top middle gen was blocked again by the deadlock with that second generator getting complete there. But we do see Chef Mitchell now finding, I think this is the Claudette back here, back around the shack here. Claudette now moving, making the way towards the doorway, going for the blind, not going to be able to use the blind there. Unfortunately, also not going to get the pallets done. That's going to be a down here. That is going to be a 3rd gen getting done across the way, but that down is going to result in a basement hook on the Keeperly here. That's crazy.
I will say, however, this is only our 4th hook of the game. Domo's been hooked once. Rocket was hooked once and progressed to second stage. And now we've got Keeperly on hook. There are only 2 gens left. I mean, despite a very slow start, I think the survivors are doing a pretty okay job here of managing that pressure, although that portal travel is going to give them away.
Yeah, and you are going to get that extra information. Luckily, though, for our survivors here, they did complete the reset, and it does look like that's actually going to be a deliverance play across the way from Keeperly as well, which is huge. That means that nobody had to go down into the basement for the save. Not only does that mean that's less people over there, not on generators, but that's less people. That means more people who are on the objective elsewhere. That's generator number 4 getting done across the way. We can actually hear that generator to the right of us has quite a bit of progress. Or no, that doesn't have too much progress on it. I was actually mistaken. Must have been hearing the other generator that's already done in the area. But we do see now taking this chase back here by the circus. And you had mentioned it, only 4 hook states. This is where the survivors, if they can kind of keep their patience and keep their wits about them, can still get 4 out here and still put up a very good performance.
Absolutely, and one thing that we have seen consistently from Monarchy is patience. So I'm not surprised to see them really just kind of like play this game at their own pace, and whatever pressure is being put on them, they're dealing with it because of all of that patience. They're not rushing into dangerous situations. They're making sure to get those resets. Ooh, and a swing and a miss on that lunge, unfortunately.
Yeah, that lunge would have been big because you probably could have gotten the down before they make it around the corner. Instead, I'm not sure if maybe that was just a little bit of an auto aim that pulled on, trying to pull them coming around the corner, but that is going to result in the miss, and that's some extra time. Now you can't help but wonder, where are our survivors at that are working on those generators? I believe that was the ace that we had just located over here, was going for the reset on the Claudia. Really nice move though, moving in and taking the hit. Of course, with taking the hit, that does mean that Rocket is now in that broken status. Kind of interested actually to see you continue the chase with the broken status survivor instead of the survivor that is not broken. That is going to be generator number 5 though, getting done across the way. However, keep in mind, we are going to see on the right side of the screen there, we are going to see that haze status. Oh, and we've got somebody that's jumping right in front of Chef Mitchell. That's going to be a down. That's a down that is going to let the rest of our survivors know as well that our killer here does have that no-ed, letting them know that they need to play this patient. That is going to be a door across the way opening. Would not be surprised to see our 3 survivors all going for that door, especially knowing that there is a no-ed and that the hook is so far away from either door.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really tragic for our survivors if they can't find that no-ed there. And as you can see, Mega's hooked right next to it, and her teammates are not going to take the chance. Unfortunately, they are going to leave her there, which, for those of you watching, you might be confused as to why he didn't chase the ace. This is actually going to garner his team more points here for Chef Mitchell, so not a bad move on his part to take that first hook.
Yeah, definitely good, because not only do you get the hook plus the extra progressions, but those are extra escape points that you're preventing as well. So a really good point swing that we are going to see here. And we're going to see actually Monarchy coming out with a very impressive 19-9 lead after just the first trial. And, you know, definitely got to be feeling good if you're the survivors, knowing that you have a 10-point lead going into back-to-back killer trials.
Absolutely. Although I will say, we have seen that with a lot of these teams, the survivor squad is where it's at. So I'm really excited to see what Sample Text can pull out here. I know going to back-to-back killer games can be pretty daunting, but, you know, I think at this point it's still kind of anyone's game. That's what I really enjoy about how the league is set up. Because even now, with a 10-point lead on the board, could not tell you where this game's gonna go. Could not. We've seen wackier comebacks, I think.
Yeah, you know, we talk about it. It is a 10-point lead, but you know, you mentioned it. We just like we saw the survivors here have a good performance, we could easily see the survivors from Sample Text with the experience that they have in the competitive scene. Even though it is their first week here in season 2 for Vigos, they could be coming out here and, you know, basically being able to match that performance. Again, keeping in mind that it is week 3, right? And with it being still so like early on in the season, that means that it's probably a pretty good chance that we are going to see non-meta killers continue to come out here, right?
I'm definitely see what we are going to be seeing on the board from our players today. I really like that we saw a Demogorgon, because I know a lot of people were asking for that earlier in the season. So earlier being like a week and a half ago, really. But yeah, very excited to see a Demogorgon. Really excited to see what else we're going to see today. What do you think? As far as off-meta killers, obviously not our S tiers, who do you think is going to come out today? Just like, what do you think is the best probability of us seeing?
You know, we have yet to see a doctor here. Well, we saw a doctor, I think, the first week, which was big. We haven't seen a doctor come out since. I feel like this is a good map for a doctor, because you get a lot of tracking, obviously, through the ability to, obviously, with your big blast, as well as with your illusions throughout the course of the actual trial itself as well, right? Wouldn't be surprised to see another demo match if the demo has not been used. This is also maybe a map where you could see like maybe even a Bubba actually come out in competitive. I know that sounds weird because we don't normally see, you know, Bubba played on the competitive scene. Keep in mind though, you know, every killer can only be used twice, right? So more things kind of have to come up in Vigos because of that.
Yeah, you know, I actually kind of want to see a Billy with the ability to just kind of shred through those very limited palettes already, and the ability to also get across that map really fast. I know Billy is not considered usually when it comes to thinking about killers, but anyone who's really, really comfortable on Billy, I think could make quick work of this map at any team on it. Yeah,
one thing though I think about when I think of Billy is I feel like Billy can really shine on a lot of other more maybe more open maps, which is why I think that maybe as far as Father Campbell's Chapel might not be the play. Wouldn't be surprised though, because like you said, able to traverse the map pretty quick might not be a bad option here. I just feel like for the same reason that you wouldn't see an S tier killer come out on a map like this, because I feel like you can flex an S tier killer harder elsewhere. I also feel the same as far as would feel the same about Billy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very, very fair. And we do have a question. Is that score accurate? Yes, that score is accurate. Currently, we are sitting at 19-9, a 10-point difference currently in Monarchy's favor. But don't worry, folks. That was only game one. We have 3 more games to get through where Sample Text will be surviving for 2 of them, and Monarchy will return to the survivor's seat for 1. And don't forget, guys, we will be playing all 4 games. It is standard in our league now that all 4 games will be played out no matter what the point discrepancies are. So lots of potential for good games here. No matter what, even if the match is decided by game 3, I'm still really always excited to go in that 4th game. Because I do really enjoy watching all of these teams play. Everyone's so talented. Y'all are so good. My God.
Yeah, I really like as far as what we can see here. And I got Sample Text here invited. Hopefully we can get them in here, loaded in here pretty quickly.
But I think we need you to invite somebody.
Yeah, I invited Sample Text. Chef Mitchell was my point of invite, so I had sent them an invite, so hopefully that gets us going where we need to go.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I am, the other way of Clown Boy in the killer spot. I do kind of want to see. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen a clown in comp. I think it would actually be like the 4th time.
Yeah, Clown wouldn't be a terrible pick here. I think this being a map again where you don't see, where I wouldn't anticipate seeing a lot of your S tier killer come out. Clown's ability to shut down chases pretty quick would be good. Also, we've seen people using his cigar box for extra info as well, as far as getting the aura readings and things where you can. So wouldn't be a bad pick. I'm always a fan of seeing my humorous friend, So I do see we got Candy Cane joining in here. So hopefully that means we got some of the rest of our survivors starting to cycle in here shortly.
Beautiful. Yeah, fingers crossed they all managed to mosey on in here. But this would be an appropriate map. It is the clown's map, so he can go home, check on Maurice, say hi, clean up his wagon. What are all these survivors doing in my wagon? Kind of thing.
I did like seeing our survivors in that last round. They did a very good job of continuing to keep just the map pressure. I felt like they continued doing a good job of like their rotations throughout to continue making sure that even while they were injured and while our killer, I felt like did a good job of in the pressure department as far as output. I just felt like it couldn't quite meet what the survivors were doing, and that's why we saw the result that we did from our Monarchy.
Absolutely. Like I said during the game, a lot of patience on Monarchy's part. They weren't in a hurry. They had the health states. I think they were recognizing that they had the health states and they had the time. Honestly, this game is all about time. They were like, yeah, you know what? Don't play it dangerous. That shred is really gnarly. He'll get a lot of distance off of it. We can't, unless we can dodge it, we can't avoid it. So let's take the time here to reset. I don't believe Ruin was on the table too. So there was really no pressure for them to, like, if they needed to get off a gen to reset or go save someone, they had the time to. It's all about time management here. And I think Monarchy managed their time very, very well. But again, we've seen a very patient play from them this entire time that we have been watching them.
Yeah, and now it's going to be interesting, right? You talked about patience on both sides, but now with Monarchy being able to take that 10-point lead and now going into back-to-back killer trials, even though it's only one player that comes out on the killer side versus the 4 on the survivor, can't help but imagine that you've probably got the entire team in your ear, right? Keeping that momentum up, keeping the pep talk high, because you can really, even though you had mentioned we're going to play out all 4 trials regardless, you can really set yourself up where you can make a decision come trial number 3.
Absolutely. And we have seen that happen before, but we have also seen by the time we roll around to game 4 that we're still neck and neck. So really love the potential for whatever may happen here. Because again, it really could be anyone's game up until that 4th game.
Yeah, I think the big thing here for sample text is just keeping like the result close. Like you don't have to match, what was it, a 3 out with like 6 stages, a couple of them being progressions or whatever it was. I think
6 or 7.
I don't think you put too much pressure on yourself where you might cause yourself to overextend. But I think you just kind of make sure you come out here and realize that you're going into back-to-back survivor rounds here, and this is where you can take the wind out of the sails of Monarchy a little bit, right? And then set your killer back up for success come Trial 4, like you were talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of these teams do end up being stronger in their survivor side. So this could be the point where sample text is like, all right, like we had fun with your puppy, but the big kids are out to play now. We're gonna rein this back into our side here.
And then we do see I one second. We had our last survivor. Who was our last survivor there? Was the one that had gotten it. It was unfortunate. It was a fresh hook too. So you got not only the 1 hook, but the double progression there as well, which was kind of some big points. I think we're seeing maybe that we don't quite have. Are we getting a confirmation on a score in the back possibly?
The score is currently incorrect. I'm trying to think. So Rocket was, I believe on Death Hook. He was hooked twice, so it was 1 hook. Or no, he was hooked once, 1 progression. Domo was hooked once. I believe Domo had Deliverance, and then
yeah, that was the basement Deliverance, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And then I think Keeperly was hooked once. And then it was their other team member, I believe, who was the fresh hook and progression to death.
I mean, I think that sounds right. We'll get a double check. Of course, we can always have our scorekeeper as well go and double check the VOD as well, just to make a confirmation on that. I do know though, the last one, it was like a fresh hook, which was big, right? Because you get not only the hook, but you get the double progression, which was really good for them.
Yeah.
Which does, though, make me think that maybe our killer had more than the 9 points that's showing, I guess, possibly is would be the question here. It
does look like our updated scorecard is showing the score as 12 to 18, so a smaller gap than what we had before between these two teams. And again, 10 points is not insurmountable odds, so that gap becoming a little narrower, pretty good for Monarchy. Pretty good for sample text coming into their survivor rounds, where they have potential to make up quite a bit of points here, especially if they can just keep their hook countdown.
So with the score being up to date, I do see we've got all of our survivors ready up. Do we have everyone good to go as far as in the back?
I think we are working on it. Still waiting on confirmation on that,
no
but
worries.
it looks like it should be pretty soon here.
I mean, you're the boss at this point. I just press buttons, you know what I'm saying?
Me, the boss.
I mean, you're the judge. You control the pace, you know.
This don't tell the board. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm bringing my name up to the board. Anyway, it does look like we are ready, as you can see. So we are good to go. I hope you guys are ready, because we are going into round 2 of 4 with Monarchy killing and sample text surviving.
Now, of course, with us loading up here, we're going to make sure that we do have all of our offerings that need to be in the correct place. And then after that, since we talked about how our killer was trying to track those down last time, now that sample text is out on the survivor side, let's talk about how they're able to earn those points here, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's talk about it. How can those survivors make up that point difference? Let me tell you. So that first and second gen, of course, are important, 1 point each. Third and fourth gen are going to be 2 points each. However, that 5th gen, a whopping 3 points, but that's not where they are going to get all of their important points. Their important points are escaping, because that first escape, 1 point. Second escape, 2 points. The third escape is 4 points, and that fourth escape, if they can get the 4 out, that is a whopping 6 points. If you escape with 2 or more hook states remaining, so 1 hook or less, you will also gain an extra point for each survivor that escapes with with 1 hook state or less. There are 26 points available for our survivors to earn here. For more on our rules, check !rules in chat, you guys.
So interesting to point out, right? We had talked last time, 30 points available for our killer, 26 available for our survivor. We are still dealing with a longer loading screen, by the way. So with that, in mind, that does mean Monarchy, with the 6-point lead, 6 points might not seem like much, but going into the back-to-back sets where you have a total of 4 more points you can earn per set, kind of makes that 6-point lead now sound a little bit bigger, right?
Absolutely. But we've seen some pretty crazy things happen. So I don't know. I feel like actually a 6-point lead is not a lot here. Because it's not hard to, I mean, I don't think we've seen anyone get shut out without getting, you know, a lot done, but oh, I'm so nervous. These
Yeah.
these long I have anxiety, you guys. These long screens, they work on that
It's
anxiety
okay.
here.
You know what? I got you taken care of because we now are in. We're going to it. We do have slow out. And you know what? I wish I would have thought about the fact that we had slow out, because I would have actually anticipated this killer, knowing that Slow's been spending a lot of time on it. We've got the Nemesis coming out here. I really like the
But
pick because I know that Slow's been working on the Nemesis, has been having some pretty impressive performances thus far as well. We are going to see now Slow going to put a little bit of pressure here in the corrupt side of the or should I say the corrupt side of the map here. Has not been able to locate anybody thus far. We do have that top middle gen as well being part of the corrupt area, which is nice because that is a gen that takes a little bit longer to get to. So at least you don't have to worry about the survivors attacking that right away here. One thing interesting and worth noting, I feel like, when we talk about Nemesis in the competitive scene, even though you don't always know exactly how much value you're getting out of the zombies, I don't know about you guys. I feel like every time I'm playing against this Nemesis, I'm constantly either getting pushed off of a gen or off of a heal from those zombies. So I think a little bit of extra element added in here. We do see, though, Slow has not been able to find any survivors here yet. Our survivors doing a very, very good job playing immersive. Even when looking around, we haven't seen any of the zombies be like aggroed onto anybody either, right?
absolutely, really no information for our killer to go off of. Very, very patient gameplay met by patient gameplay, but we do find our first survivor here and get that first infected state distributed.
Yeah, now definitely worth noting, we are moving here into this portion of the map. You've already gotten 1 hit as far as with your whip. This is going to be big. You're going to see Slow really trying to build up that infection rate early, knowing especially as you get to the 2nd and 3rd level, not only are you injuring survivors, but you're moving faster and you're able to break pallets as well. You're breaking pallets while you're moving. That was a very good whip also, by the way, might I add. I see the face.
That was a really nice whip there. Wow.
Yeah, I looked over on my monitor. I'm like, yeah, I know. That was a really nice hit there. That's going to be a down over the pallet, too. Really nice hit here. And you're also seeing, too, that value we see across the way. We saw the zombie was tracking onto a survivor. And we know that over here, this survivor is the one with the flashlight. Not sure if that's information that Slow's really too concerned about, but we do see that that zombie is indeed stunned.
Which means someone's around here with a flashlight, and I think we have found them.
Yeah, we're going to be pushing our Megan off here. And now actually you've found your way to 2 different survivors. So you're finding extra pressure across the map. Worth mentioning, we had pushed the 1 survivor off of the generator there. We did not see any sparks. So we are not going to get any assistance from the Ruin here, which is interesting. I feel like Ruin is one of those perks that some killers you see getting a lot of value out of. Sometimes you're also seeing some killers, the Ruins getting broken relatively early. So still only with just the Corrupt that has been a perk that we can talk about that's been revealed thus far. So 3 mystery perks, but we're continuing chase, and that's Candy Cane going down again. That's generator number 1 coming in there. Oh, there's going to be a firecracker, not quite in time. At least a
Not
nice
quite
little
timed
display there.
right.
But
Very
that's
beautiful.
hook number 2 already in Deadlock in play. Now giving Slow a little bit of information, letting him know what the next gen that they need to be protecting is.
And we did comment on it before, but I do want to point it out again. Deadlock has been a very, very valuable perk in the comp scene this season, it feels like. I feel like we see that pretty much every game.
Yeah, and we are going to see here, now at this point, I wouldn't be surprised to see Slow just kind of continuing to stay in the area. You had that Deadlock give you that information over here, so you know that that's going to be the generator the survivors are going to try and scramble to finish. We are going to see a kick coming in at this point. No sort of pop or anything like that, which is going to be interesting, knowing that we still have 2 mystery perks here. So Slow going for a little bit of a different approach, but of course Nemesis, a killer that we haven't really been seeing a lot of in the competitive scene, even as Nemesis has become allowed in different environments like DBE and other tournaments as well. And now we're going to see Slow going to camp Candy Cane to death here. And that is going to be now moving into a 3v1 with 4 generators left to be complete.
Absolutely, and this is a impressive amount of pressure on these survivors from our killer here, because as we've stated before, once that first survivor is out of the game and it's a 3v1, the game changes drastically for our survivors, and it's going to be a lot harder for them to deal with any extra pressure, especially because Nemesis gets that extra range once people are infected. And there are only 4 vaccines on the map.
Yeah.
Well, base 4 vaccines.
Right. And we are actually noticing there too in that bottom left-hand corner that with the next hit of the tentacle, which is actually going to be right there, Slow has now reached tier 3, is now at the max speed, is now going to be able to break things such as those breakable walls, as well as things like pallets. He's able to remove those out of the way while still being able to move. Something that's kind of different, that's unique for Nemi as far as the base kit, and I feel is something that makes Nemesis a little bit more slept on in the competitive scene. We're seeing a very impressive performance thus far from Nemesis, and I can't remember if it was Slow who brought out the Nemesis during preseason. We saw Nemesis come out once during preseason though, and I feel like we saw a similar sort of result, a very strong performance like we're seeing here. So maybe as more teams get their hands on Nemesis, maybe we'll see Nemesis kind of shifting a little bit more into that meta.
Absolutely, and I think Nemesis should be considered a little bit more, because a really good Nemesis can put down, as you can see, a lot of pressure. And sometimes, every once in a while, the zombies are actually really good.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Sometimes you get that. It seems like it's more about how much help they give you. It's not so much if they give you help. They give you some help, it seems like, but sometimes they give you a mondo value. There's going to be another down here onto Nightwolf. That is going to be, I think that's actually Nightwolf's fresh hook, if I'm not mistaken, which does mean they've got plenty of hang time if they want. But, oh, and there's going to be a 4th gen. Our survivors doing a good job of pushing back pressure, but we heard that gen up above us didn't have a lot of progress. So if that's the gen that has the most progress, our survivors really need to get to work on some generators here.
Could be a pretty dangerous position for survivors here. Luckily, they've avoided a gnarly 3-gen for the most part with their gen economy here and what they have managed to space out. So good for them on not getting stuck in this carnival area with a really nasty 3-gen.
Yeah, we are going to see now Slow coming to the farthest generator, noticing that there is 0 progress on it. There is going to be the unhook coming across the way. Would not be surprised to see them trying to attack this top middle gen, just because it is a little bit of a longer gen to get to, just because you do have to go through some stairs and then you can exit out the backside, kind of like we're seeing Megan doing right here, which does mean you can pull Slow even further away from the rest of your generators, because I would imagine they're probably going to go with a split approach anyways. If Megan does not have a dead hard, that's going to be a down, and even if she did, I don't think it matters. We do see a pickup if there's no one around for a pallet safe. That's going to be another hook. This hook being on the far side of the map also means that if our survivors are going to come for the unhook, they are moving far, far away from the objective, meaning that there is more time for Slow here to continue to start collecting these last hook states here.
Absolutely. And it looks like not too much information from the zombies, but Slow, he's only got 3 gens here, so it's not going to be too hard for him to find somebody else. As he demonstrates here, he has already found a survivor in this area.
Yeah, and that's going to be a quick removal of that pallet there. We're seeing more and more the dominance of Nemesis and just why, you're really strong. And we are going to see a hit with that linger tech there. I think that was, if that's still a thing, it looked like it, unless that was just maybe a little bit of a good old dedicated server issue. It is going to be a body block, though. You're going to be able to get another hit there. Unfortunately, the zombie wasn't quite there for the setup to catch Claudette coming off of the vault. But even with the dead hard, that's going to be a down. And I think that should be the last fresh hook, meaning that you're at least starting to get everyone closer to being removed from this trial. But even Barson here should have some hang time. If our 2 survivors are doubled up on a gen, might be able to complete it.
Absolutely, and that is, each hook state is a minute each, so this is some good time. Ooh, and the repressed alliance play.
Yeah, I like
and
seeing
the deliverance.
Ooh.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's actually a lot of value here, right? Because now your deliverance player can rotate and start working and splitting pressure on another gen. Meanwhile, your fully healthy survivor, Nightwolf, is probably lurking in the shadows, waiting for that repressed alliance to get off of that gen so you can finish it. You're also noticing the Megan there, Flawless, I think that was a med kit in her hand, is going to be retreating across the map. We do also see some scratch marks coming up to the gen. That is the Kate. Luckily, Kate is full health, so at least Kate can take a little bit of damage. But again, keeping in mind, it's been a little while since Barson did have that deliverance play and is probably on that gen on the backside of the carnival, just getting to hold M1 and hitting some skill checks. Plus 10 wood to the face there as well.
Absolutely. I was going to say, get stunned, stupid. As we see Kate drop that pallet on Nemesis' head here, wasting a lot of time and making sure her teammates have all the time they need to work on those generators.
Yeah, we are going to see that broken status now actually getting off of Barson. So wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Barson meeting up with Flawless, going for a reset, unless maybe Barson's just been able to sit across, again, sit on that gen across the way on the backside of the carnival. And there it is. There's generator number 5 getting complete. We also are going to see the No Way Out getting procs. There was 4 stacks of that. So quite a bit of time here until our survivors can make a plate at those exit doors. Not only is there a No Way Out, but there is a haste mark, which means that there is a no one escapes death. Slow here, building up a whole bunch of pressure. That's going to be another elimination. You still have somebody on a hook, and the only person left in the trial is injured.
Which, I mean, at this point, not really too important since Noed has come out to play. So even if they were healthy, this could be really, really dangerous. We do see, I don't know if that was a 4% or not.
I would imagine that was probably a rotate over at this point. It's kind of been a little while, and I feel like Barson could have been able to make the rotate over this way and try and see if maybe you can split your 50-50 your doors at this point, as we are going to see the No Way Out just now coming off of those doors, meaning our survivors can start working on actually powering the doors up themselves. We are going to see, I think this is Barson here, taking the chase over here at the shack. Unfortunately, though, with the Nemesis being at tier 3, he's moving super quick. That boy do be thumbing, though, and he's also able to remove those pallets super easy, as we just saw. And that is going to be a down, and it's going to be an easy decision to pick Barson up and back up onto a hook you go. Now, the only question is Nightwolf on that door across the way, because that is the only way you're getting out of the map at this point, knowing that we had just checked the other door. There's the door going open, probably going to be Nightwolf walking out the door, but that's 11 stages altogether with those couple of progressions, with Nightwolf only having 1 hook state remaining. A very, very strong performance by Slow. I told you heading into it, Slow's been having some impressive Nemesis performances, and we saw Slow proving my prediction right and wrapping up a very impressive 3K.
Absolutely. Definitely it came out swinging with that Nemesis, got tier 3 quickly, and he showed us what he could do with Nemesis there.
And, now after being able to follow up a very impressive survivor performance, right? And now you're coming out and you get the 3K and you minimize the amount of points going out the door since there was only one hook state left. And now you're talking about after what a lot of people would consider the first set, you're looking at a relatively decent sized lead here, especially seeing as you are going into another killer set or another killer map.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of potential here. Monarchy has done very well to garner themselves enough points to take on a pretty considerable lead here now going into game 3. And while we're here, why don't we go ahead and review what map we're on? Because I feel like the map might be helping out a little bit here. We are on Father Campbell's Chapel, one of our Crotus Prentice Island maps. This is the home map of the Clown. It is a decently sized map with a 6 hook minimum and 11 hook maximum, though. A hook economy is going to be very important here. It is the Monarchy home map, so that might contribute to, they're real comfortable here. They've been practicing on this map.
Yeah, and you had mentioned it's the home of my humongous, humorous friend. Wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe come out in trial number 3 or maybe even trial number 4. And, you know, I can't help but bring up again, after seeing Slow come out on the killer side with the Nemesis, a killer that, even though isn't like a new killer to DBD, would still be considered a new killer to the competitive scene, as he has just now kind of been released in a lot of leagues such as DBD and such. And we're seeing from Slow here coming here and making a statement saying that the Nemesis is a comp viable killer.
Absolutely. I think if there was any question before about Nemesis's strength, there shouldn't be any more, because this is not the first time we've seen him perform well in a comp setting. We did see at least one Nemesis earlier in actually our regular season as well, and he also performed very well. So the pressure and his zombies didn't do too much for him. I think we were commenting a lot on how the zombies were staring at a lot of trees.
Yep.
But that's still pressure because they were in key points. You know, they can, any attention from the survivors, you come too close to the detection range and all of a sudden you've got a friend trailing you. So a lot of pressure can be put up by Nemesis, even if he's not in the area himself.
Yeah, you know, it is worth mentioning that over the course of that trial, the zombies were pretty well on that circus side of the map. And with that being the case and kind of where the gens ended up at, right, other than that top mid gen, they kind of continued to keep pressure really all the way up to the end, even with the one giving away a little bit of information there at the end. I don't know if you noticed they're kind of pulling a little bit of aggro by that door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, you know, okay, sounds good. I do believe, apologies, Slow, it will be killing for us again. We will get to see another exciting performance from Slow. So we are just waiting on our survivors here. But yeah, I think it really goes to show, any killer that has information built into their kit, extra information where you don't have to like sacrifice a perk slot for it, it is going to do really, really well in competition. We saw it with Demo, that extra information from the portaling, seeing auras on portaling was really important to see, like, okay, what's going on? Where is everyone? And again, with Nemesis, with the zombies, once a survivor enters in the detection range, Nemesis can see, yeah, all right, you got your arms up, you're chasing somebody over there.
Right. Yeah, and you know, I can't help but wonder, now that you've got yourself a little bit of a lead, do you feel for our squad from Monarchy, do you think they switch up their approach on the killer side here? Do you maybe, knowing that you have a 19-point lead, do you switch up and maybe at the risk of making it seem like there's too much of a difference with the killer, but like downgrade your killer, maybe go with a killer that you aren't expecting as good of a result from, knowing that you already have a decent lead through the first set?
You know, I think it is a possibility. You don't want to get too overconfident, because sample text definitely still could catch up here. But I do think because killer uses are limited, you don't want to waste where you don't have to. So I think this could be a point where Monarchy could sit back a little bit, be like, maybe we can bring out a killer we are more comfortable with that is lower tier. But it does look like everybody's going to be ready. So we can find out very shortly what Monarchy
Hello.
decides to do here.
I'm excited. We're heading into trial 3, and you had mentioned it. 19-point lead sounds big. That's what she said. But we still have a point where things can turn around, right? So now at this point, you almost want to hit the reset button if you're the survivors here and just see if you can put your best foot forward in trial 3 and bring things back just a little bit, set your killer up for success. But we are going to see all 4 blueprints. We're going to see the cut coin. How about we talk about some ban rules?
Absolutely. Let's talk about, so we've talked about how to gain points, but this is how you can lose points. There are bans and build restrictions. Items can only be yellow or below, as well as their add-ons. Only one of each perk is allowed, except for BT. You can have 2 BTs. That's all right. Go save your friends. That's important. We also have some banned perks. However, build to last, prove thyself, Starstruck, none of that here. We don't want it. Haunted Ground, Lethal Pursuer, Boons, and Clairvoyance are also not allowed, so you will not be seeing them in these matches. The killers used are also limited. As we said before, you can only use them twice a season, so it's really important to manage your killer economy. Survivors, you can only have 1 character per team, so sorry for Dwight's One Locker, you can only have 1 Dwight. Violations are subject to penalties. For more on those rules and what those penalties can do, check ! rules in chat.
Listen, chat, I've tried talking to the people in the back and getting an exception for 4 Dwights, 1 Locker, but they insist. Even 4 Dwights, 1 Locker. They must have 1 of every survivor here. We are going to be moving into trial number 3 here, and I did not mean to be here. We need to be flipped over. We are going to be seeing Slow coming out here, and it's my humongous, humorous friend. We've got the clown coming out. You'll love to see it. We are going to see that corrupt intervention here. That's going to be big. And he threw the yellow smoke there to be able to get the speed boost. Huge play. Also going to see here, we're going to get the aura reading there from the cigar bottle as well. Slow coming out with the nice impressive plays right off the rip. I do like seeing that. We also are going to have the gin bottles there as well. So that gin bottle means you're going to have the extra bottle count. So Slow, I would say, coming out with a very aggressive build as far as the add-on pairage. Otherwise, though, just worth mentioning, we do have the corrupt intervention and 1 mystery perk, but a very early down. Nice pressure by Slow here in the early game.
Absolutely. Clown coming out swinging. He is on his own map, and he is feeling fine here. That was very, very impressive. A very quick down on our survivor here.
Yeah, we're going to see, now that hook here, kind of like we saw last game, now in the uncorrupt side of the map, meaning you can put a little bit of pressure elsewhere. Unfortunately, though, I don't think you're going to be able to put pressure up onto that middle gen. It does look like Slow is going to just consider that a lost cause. And I do think that is a smart decision, especially hearing how much pressure is on that gen. Also with the ability of knowing that by not committing to the top middle gen, you can try and force a second hook state here onto Barson, who is currently on the hook. You're still about halfway, so about 30 seconds from making that a reality. But we are going to see Slow, and that's actually now going to be that top middle gen is going to be blocked from that deadlock. So seeing Slow opt to go for that deadlock pick here as well, and only going to have 1 survivor moving in here. Now seeing the second survivor moving as well, trying to move the go for the body block here. But we're seeing Slow being very deliberate. Oh, I thought was going to get the grab. Not able to get the grab, but you are able to get a hit on the multiple survivors here. Now the question is, do you go with the tunnel or do you go with the Fang? It does look like opting to go with the chase here with the Fang. Unfortunately, hesitating just a little bit at the T-wall, which is going to allow Candy Cane here to get to our pallet at the little jungle gym area. However, don't forget the Clown has those tonic bottles, so they're going to be able to cut things off just a little bit. And I do believe with that successful tonic there, should be able to secure the down and basically get a delayed 1-for-1.
Yeah, that was a very, very dangerous position to be putting themselves, for our survivors to be putting themselves in, because now you've got 3 injured people on the board. 1 is on the hook. So this could get really, really nasty. We do see 2 gens have been completed. But it's getting pretty rough here. You can see
Oh
those
no.
auras exposed from the cigar box, and we do have an injured survivor here in the chapel.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, Claudette kind of got lucky there. Had Slow noticed that had the little bit of the hole in the banister there, actually would have been able to make the cutoff and probably been able to end this loop before we continue to go around and around the middle building, as we do see right here. We do see Claudette though now moving outside, going to the TNL, moving towards the actual circus side itself. Slow though doing a very good job moving through. Ooh, with the
Oh,
moonwalk into the grab at the window. Very good play by Slow.
oh no! That was such a good grab. Very, very patient. Again, patience coming into play here.
Yeah, definitely worth noticing or noting that patience, but now we're gonna see Slow going into a chase. Ooh, gets done, stupid. Plus 10 wood to the face. I was gonna say we're seeing Slow taking chase into the area where you do not still have a 3-gen intact, which is kind of an interesting tactic. Knowing that you, I guess maybe we're going to be pulling survivors off of those gens in the 3-gen setup. Now you're going to be taking chase here with Candy Cane. Keeping mind, Candy Cane is a survivor who has been previously hooked here. That would now put you in the point where you have 2 survivors who are on death hook, but you would also like to start taking away those potential escape points from your survivors here if you could find Flawless or Nightwolf.
Absolutely, yeah. Those first hooks are really important because the less hook states remaining that people escape with, the less points they will get.
And that's hook state, like we said, number 2 here for Candy Cane. Number 4 altogether for Slow. Interesting though, yet again, Slow, instead of going to protect the 3-gen, protect the outlier gen. But it's worth noting, it's been paying off for him, actually. You know, we're seeing the other gen over here doesn't have very much protection. We are going to see that little bit of help from the yellow smoke to be able to push pressure over here. Not seeing any auras also lets you know you don't have anybody moving in directly for the save. However, there was a survivor hiding back here. Really good job by them to be able to get generator number 3 done.
Absolutely. They were like, we're just gonna sit back here, we're gonna vibe, we're gonna finish this gen right now. And coming in again, we see the body blocking from our killer to deny this hook save.
Yeah, and that's going to, you know, now we see the smoke coming in. I think you definitely should probably be sending in a second survivor. There's the second survivor coming in for a save. That timer for Candy Cane coming down. Ooh, unfortunately not able to get a grab once again. Looked like just a little bit of a mistime. You were so close to getting the actual grab, but instead the hit forced itself. Now you moved in for a protection hit. Now our survivors know about that NOED that is in play here. Unfortunately, though, I don't think you are going to be able to continue this chase too much longer in the TNL, as that is going to be a down there as well. Now here the question is for Slow, what decision do you make? Candy Cane is on death hook, whereas Flawless would at least be a fresh hooked survivor. Now we would probably see, yeah, I was going to say Slow, take this survivor, put them on the hook closest to your other down survivor, and now you can take the survivor that's on the ground here and also move them closer to that door, and you've got a nice little layer of protection here.
Absolutely. These hooks over by this door are really nasty. The carnival hooks are never where you want to be in the end game with NOED on the table. So this is a very dangerous position for our survivors to be in. And if Sampletex wants the points, they're gonna have to do something
Yeah, and this is
about
tough.
that NOED.
Yeah, this is tough because, you know, we do see right over the way, it did look like our survivor squad had already started working on the door. So would not be surprised to see them trying to find the NOED and splitting out. The only bad news, though, as we can see right here, Slow has a very good visual on the NOED there. Also, Candy Cane still on the ground. There is actually Candy Cane getting picked up off the ground as we speak. That is going to give yourself an extra body here. One question, though, I can't help but wonder is going to be if there is a, I was going to say if there's going to be a save coming in. No, instead, actually, we see the 3 opting to go across the way there, and that's going to be the 3 out, but it's 7 hook stages. A very strong performance from a clown for sure. Especially knowing that you had already had a lead heading into trial 3 here, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Slow Galio coming out with a very strong performance from a killer I don't think a lot of people consider when it comes to comp. So a very good performance, managing to put down a lot of pressure on our survivors with some very quick downs throughout the entire game.
And, that's going to be huge here. I mean, we're talking about now after 3 rounds here. I mean, Monarchy really just continues to push down the pressure and now looking at a very, very strong lead. I think basically just needing to confirm a couple of generators. If I'm looking at the score right, and then at that point, they will be confirming up a win here in week number 3. So definitely a very good performance we're seeing from Monarchy thus far.
Absolutely, and there is still, I believe, an opportunity for Sample Text to pull this back, but they're going to need a damn near perfect game to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about, at this point, what is that? 54-39. So we're talking about a 25-point lead. Or no, sorry, 15-point lead. But to close that difference, yeah, I mean, we're talking about, you mentioned a damn near perfect game. So going to be interested to see what our survivor squad, what our killer, what kind of killer choice we have here. Do you try and bring out the S tier and say, hey, I've got a god tier nurse that can get me the 4K I'm looking for at just 2 gens complete? Or do we maybe see just you go ahead and use one of your mid-tier killers and just see if you can make the magic happen?
I think seeing as Sample Text first showing in this season of Vigos, I think it's possible we do see an S tier here. I mean, they could still win this. It is very possible. And this might be a place where they want to kind of, put their best foot forward and be like, all right, we're not here to mess around. We're a very serious competitor here, and you're going to have to worry about us coming up in the season. So very excited to see what Sample Text pulls out to respond to this, because again, they need a really good game to catch up and take the lead here.
Yeah, and they definitely if there was a team that would be a tough introductory into a league that's already started for Sample Text, Monarchy would be one of those teams that I would put on that list. They've done a good job thus far. It's not, you mentioned it's not out of reach yet. You still have the possibility to bring this thing home here, but again, it's going to take a really, really strong performance on the killer side. But I think as far as worth noting on Monarchy side, I mean, they had a very good survivor round in round number 1, and now we're going to be seeing if they can duplicate that in trial 4 here.
Absolutely. Monarchy has proven that they are a strong survivor squad. So this is going to be a tough game for the Sample Text killer here. Just knowing how patient and how coordinated these survivors have proven themselves to be up until this point.
And we do see now we're starting to get loaded into trial number 4. I was able to speak the clown into existence, chat. So for that reason and that reason only. Yeah, you know what? Actually, let's do it. We're going to go ahead and put Oni-chan out there. I had the pig for a second.
The Oni-chan.
But let's go ahead and bring the Oni-chan out there. See if maybe we can speak it into existence once again. Bring out the big bad guy. See if even though I know Oni-chan does tend to struggle more in the early game, but maybe bring him out and just get yourself some good reps in here. Again, you're looking at a very steep win condition. So I don't know if I bring out an S tier killer, even though you might think an S tier killer is the one that can get you the win. You would hate to still come out with an S tier killer, have a darn near perfect game, but not a perfect enough game, right? And waste, say, a awesome blight performance on what would still be a loss here.
Yeah, it's, I mean, again, I think we might see a higher tier killer, maybe not necessarily an S tier, especially if they have something that they're very comfortable with bringing out that's going to be very strong for them. Oni is one of those options. He does struggle in the early game, so having to deal with the patience that Monarchy has exhibited can be really rough on him, but still viable. There's also his great times like 17 granddaughter, the spirit out there. She's not quite considered S tier anymore. I don't know if she would be the strongest choice here with her nerf, but she could be a potential to pull out here if they're looking for a strong killer that is not one of their S tiers.
You think her nerf knocked her out of S tier, huh?
I kind of do. Okay, so as somebody who consistently struggled against spirits before this, I hate playing against spirits before the nerf, and now like it's still difficult, but it's not. It's look, her musical update. Her musical update was good. It's great even. We love the new Chase music. Unfortunately, the new Chase is just the way that that spirit had a lot of pressure before. They inherently changed it. So it's not as difficult, I think, to deal with her anymore, just because you do have a little bit of a way to tell where she's coming from. And if you're not really careful with the way that you play spirit, I just don't think, I think she's still a good killer. I think she's still like in the higher tiers, definitely an A tier killer, but I just don't think with the way they changed her, I don't think she's going to be hard to handle for some of these teams anymore.
Do you still think that puts her like top 3?
I don't know. No, I don't think that would put her top 3 anymore.
All right. So you know what?
I don't know who.
I'm going to need some homework. So now I'm going to need you to go, when you're done today, I'm going to need you to go write a tier list. That way, the next time we ask, I know where the spirit falls. I'm actually just kind of curious because I do think we have seen spirit played less since the nerf, right? I just don't know if the nerf is enough to move her out of the top 3. I do definitely think the gap between her and some of like what were always considered like the next 3 after the top 3 killers has closed significantly. Again, I just don't know if I consider her out of top 3,
Yeah. I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see on that. I'll get that tier list to you guys next time. But it does look like everyone's ready here. Yeah, from my professional opinion, we'll get a tier list. I've been playing this game maybe a year, so I've got some insight. But yeah, it looks like everyone is ready to go. So let's get rock and rolling on this 4th trial here, guys. I hope you are ready as we head into the final trial of Monarchy versus Sample Text.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're heading into trial 4 here. Again, keep in mind, this is our first chance of seeing Sample Text. Well, I guess now would be the second chance of seeing Sample Text's killer side here. We are going to see all 4 bloody blueprints. We're going to see the cut coin. How about we talk about some penalty rules, shall we?
So let's talk about some penalty rules. So we talked about what constitutes a penalty, but let's talk about what happens. They can be played out. If a penalty happens during the game, they can be played out. They can be restarted, or both, depending on how spicy teams are feeling. Penalties include 2 of the same survivor, a banned perk, item, or add-on that is -5 points, and a possible restart. So could be played out, doesn't need to be restarted. The wrong map, however, is a -5 points and an auto restart. Please don't harass the ref. Please don't bring players not on the roster. That is -10 points per offense. No restart. You just lose those points. They're gone. Using an exhausted killer, -10 and an auto restart. If you delay the game, you lose 1 point for every minute past the first 5 minutes that the game is delayed. So you gotta be really careful on that. For more on our rules, please check !rules in chat. Don't ask me. I believe you can all read, I have faith in you.
Don't ask us, ask your mama. Or use !rules in chat. But it does all come down to this. Keep in mind, we are talking about Sample Text needing a darn near perfect game. We are seeing a little bit of a longer load screen here, chat, so do bear with us here. But also, while we do have a second, keep in mind, once we are done with trial number 4, even though we will be rating off, does not mean we are done with games for the night. We will have another game at the 9 p.m. start time right back here on this channel. Another awesome matchup for you today, as well as a full slate tomorrow too. So definitely make sure that if you have not smacked the follow button, if we have any new people here, smack that button, turn those notifications on. That way, when we go live, we can catch you right back here. And here we go. Finally loaded in here. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move into trial number 4. And we do see Chef Mitchell coming out with the Twins. Interesting pick, in my opinion, bringing out the Twins, because I do believe the Twins is one of those killers we were just kind of talking about, right? Like maybe not S tier, but like the top, like the first three after the top three, I would definitely consider Charlotte and Victor in that list there. And, maybe knowing that you can go for a slug god type of potential, get the extra progressions, get some other points that way, maybe see if you can compound some pressure. But again, Twins kind of face the same thing like we were talking about with Oni. They do tend to struggle a little bit in the early game. We are going to see a early hit, though, onto Shiro. That is going to be the first change of a health state. With that change in health state, we can also talk about a perk that I feel like is become quite prevalent on the Twins, which is going to be that Thanatophobia. Of course, that does mean for every change of health state, that is a 5% slowdown on objectives such as doing those generators themselves. We are going to see the locker play here. Maybe buys you enough time. Does not look like buys you enough time. So that should instantly result in a down here. And I don't think you have bought your team enough time to get any generators across there. We still have about another 35 seconds or so even still left of that corrupt intervention. And that's only generator number 1.
So a lot of pressure on the table already from the Twins here, who, as you said, they have come out as a pretty strong killer pick in Vigos, at least. If you've been paying attention, we do see whenever the Twins come out, it's a pretty bad time for somebody, usually the survivors.
Yeah, I know maybe some people who are a little newer to the competitive scene, maybe don't watch a lot of competitive, whose opinions of what killers are strong is strictly based off of what you go against in public matches. You might have a different perception of the Twins, but we have seen, as you know, the Twins have been in competitive longer, and as you give these killers more time to really figure out how to optimally play the Twins. At first, it was really more just in the Russian scene, then more into EU, and now we're even seeing our NA teams. Most of them have a really good grasp of the Twins here. So that does also generally mean, though, not only do they have a good grasp of the killer of Twins, since they are scrimming against them a lot, that also means they have a good grasp of countering the Twins, kind of like we're seeing here. Only one hook state, plus 10 wood to the face applied there by Shiro to Chef Mitchell, and that's going to be some distance being built here. Ruin's still in play, though, so you're getting a little bit of help from that. Kind of surprised our survivors haven't been able to find that Ruin yet.
Yeah, we have seen Ruin. Ruin tends to go pretty quickly in our matches here, but since all 4 survivors, you are right, we have minimum hook states on the table. Since all 4 survivors are still up, maybe they're really not feeling pressure of it. I have seen all gens fly off the shelf with Ruin still on the table.
Yeah, and we're seeing even again plus 10 with the base, right?
Absolutely, just nailing the Twins with every single pallet there in that jungle gym. Taking off here now. There is that resource, limited resource use again.
Yeah, the one thing, though, keep in mind, as we do see more pallets getting thrown, Chef Mitchell has done a pretty good job of removing those pallets as well, meaning that those are less resources for the late part of the trial. But that sound notification we just heard, I was going to have to wait until we got back to Charlotte, I do believe is Ruin, which it is. So now Ruin has been cleansed. 3 generators complete, only 1 hook state to show for it. Our survivors here for Monarchy really showing why Monarchy is one of those teams I think a lot of us, as far as in the league, are considering a threat to be a deep contender in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Monarchy, again, has proven that they are a very, very strong team, especially on their survivor squad.
Now we see a little bit of the back and forth with the Victor here. Does look like, though. Okay, that was actually really funny. But we do see, though, a little bit of kind of, I think, back and forth, a little bit of memeing between our survivors and our killers here. But that is going to be generator number 4 getting done across the way. And I believe that does break up. I think there's a little bit of a potential of a 3-gen over on this side. But that is going to break that up there. And even as Chef Mitchell looks around here after they continue this chase. Oh, I was going to say onto the Michaela. Actually, though, Forced Penance now coming into play. And Forced Penance has been a perk that we've definitely seen becoming more prevalent on the killers of the Twins, just because the twins are one of those killers that you don't want to give a lot of early, or you don't want to get like a lot of early downs and pressure to, so you see people moving in for those blocks, the body blocks and stuff like that, and instead the forced penance kind of prevents that there.
Absolutely. Force Pendants has shown that it has been very, very important on the twins, as a lot of the way that you can deal with them, one of the ways that you can deal with them at least, is to buddy up, stay for with a friend. But, Force Pendants is like, if you're going to do that, we're going to punish you for it. But it does look like the survivors don't care. They are going to pop that last generator.
Yeah, it's going to be generator number 5 across the way, getting done. Now meaning they can work towards those doors as well, and we aren't going to have to worry about any no way out or no way or anything, because of course we've already exposed all of our perks throughout the course of the trial. And that is generator number, as is hook number 2 onto Shiro itself. So at least it does mean that you would have 3 fresh hook survivors walking out the front door across the way, which is the good news, and I wouldn't not be surprised to see Monarchy just go ahead and go for that. But at the same time, I feel like you probably have a little bit of comfortability is probably, I guess, the best word to use there, knowing that you have a lot of hook states to surrender here at the end, and you've got a pretty good lead. So maybe seeing them try and go for some style points and try and see if they can still pull off a 4 escape here.
Absolutely. I mean, there is potential, but it could go downhill real fast if they're not careful. I don't think they would know if there is. Oh, well, I guess the survivor went down after the gate had been opened, or the exit gates had been powered. And it does look like you were right in your prediction that they are just going to take that 3 out and secure those points there instead of coming in for their friend here.
And that is going to wrap things up as far as our matchups here. And, maybe not the result you were looking for from the twins there in trial number 4, but at the same time would have been a really tough situation and a really steep wind condition to pull off. So it would have been a heck of a sight to see if they were to pull that off there. But we are going to see Monarchy pulling off a another impressive performance on the survivor side. And I think Monarchy really showing that when you happen to see them on the schedule, you best be prepared to play. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Monarchy has already proven that they are one of those teams that you really got to have on your radar. They have consistently come out with a very good gameplay. Their survivor side is strong. Their killer side is strong. A very well-balanced team here. So definitely somebody to keep an eye on as we continue through our season here with Vigo's Court.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would... I think as people who've been paying attention to the preseason as well as the first couple weeks would agree that this isn't unusual from Monarchy. But, I am kind of also excited to say that really wasn't a bad performance from our other squad here, or from Sample Text, right? Like, we're talking about it being kind of a last second, hey, can you fill in here? So huge shout out to them for coming over and filling in for a empty squad because of a DQ from I think it was last week. So huge shout out to them for like last second filling in, especially with the holidays and everything. So going to be looking forward to see what we see from Sample Text in future weeks once they've had more prep time.
Absolutely. I have heard that they're a very good team. It can be really rough. They did get pulled into this pretty last second. So huge props to them for coming into a difficult game in the first place, knowing that Monarchy has been playing so strongly throughout the first 2 weeks, and they still did very good. So, but it looks like we have Slow Galio entering the interview room with us today. How are you doing? Interrogation room.
We'll make sure while we're in the interrogation room here that make sure we've got everything allowed as far as permissions for Slow. Slow, of course, being the killer that had came out there. I am seeing that Slow is unable to talk, so maybe if we can get our fine folks that are working in the background, make sure that we've got some permissions for Slow. Also make sure for Slow, if you have a push to talk on, maybe make sure that you don't have any sort of push to talk set up so we can talk to you here in the interrogation room. But Slow was the killer that came out for Monarchy. He had the very impressive Nemesis performance, also had a pretty strong clown performance as well. So hopefully we can get the permission thing figured out.
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing,
Hello.
Slow?
Hey, Slow. How you doing?
What's up? I'm good. I'm good. It's like 1 a.m. here, so
Good.
I'm
Well,
not
good
awesome.
morning.
Good morning.
Very good games today. You did really well. I really appreciated the pick. How are you feeling coming into game 2 for your killer side with Clown?
Well, I never really played Clown in the first place. It was kind of like a last-second pick. I was deciding between Wraith and Clown, but I was like, we're good on points. Like, we don't really have any stress. As long as I get like a good 6 stages, then we should be fine. So I just went in there, tried to tunnel one out. Didn't really work because I got grab cancelled twice. And then I got 7 stages in anyways, so that was pretty good, yeah.
It was because you heard me on the desk saying that I wanted my humongous humorous friend, right?
Yeah, no. Only for you, Q.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yo, you know, I know I've been seeing having a lot of fun on the Nemesis there, and we saw you really flexing him in that first matchup there. Do you think the Nemesis offers the type of base kit where we can see him be considered more comp viable, or do you think he's still going to be one of those where it's only the people who really spend the time to dig in are going to be the ones who can really get the most out of it?
Well, Nemesis is kind of like an anti-loop killer, right? But you can kind of compare him to the Executioner, whereas you get a very fast down, and you get around like an average of 7 or 8 stages, I think, as against a good comp team. I think he's definitely very underrated, but I think he's very much pushed under a category of RNG killer because of the zombies.
Right.
But I think once a good Nemesis main realizes that the zombies aren't really anyways a use in the first place, you kind of start to realize that your pressure lies in chase, which is kind of what you need to do on a Nemesis.
So like the zombies are basically just bonus pressure essentially.
Yes, like the only use I ever really get out of them that I notice is in chase. Like sometimes I get like an unexpected down, you know? That's their most use. I use the 100% speed add-on for 30 seconds, which like gives some very surprise hits sometimes.
Those fast zombies, they will absolutely get you. And I feel like you play 2 killers where you get a lot of bonus information just from the way that their base kit inherently works. Did that extra information both from the zombies, their detection range, and from the cigar box, did you feel like that really came and helped you a lot in your games?
Well, not for me necessarily. This was the first time I've even ran that add-on like Clown, so I didn't really know how it worked. But I had like 2 R readings, I think, which kind of helped me. But for Nemesis, I've played him so much that I don't really like look at the zombies anymore, and I don't really use them for information. But I can understand that like for a new killer, like for someone who's new to maybe killer or who doesn't really know what's going on or thinks it's hard to keep track of 4 survivors at the same time, might find a lot of use in the reveals from the zombies.
I love it. I love it. Well, before we get you out of here, Slow, is there anything that you would like to say to the fans of Monarchy or the other team or your teammates or anything like that?
Just that Rockets needs to spin me next time, and then I'll give him $5.
I love it. I love it.
All right, guys, have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Have yourself a good night, man. Thank you so much.
All right, see you later.
All right, Shep. Well, I do believe that should be wrapping things up for us here as far as this matchup. Again, keep in mind, chat, that does not wrap things up for Vigo's Court for the night, though. We are going to be back here at, about an hour and 40 minutes from now?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. And while Monarchy has been convicted of murder here tonight, we do have another trial going on in a little bit. So make sure you show up. Who is playing in that trial? Do you know, Q? And I'm like, where did my planner go?
You know, I do believe as far as that matchup itself, so that's the 9 o'clock on Friday. That is going to be
Hookers versus Immortal Alliance, I
There we
believe.
go. Yeah. I was
What
just-
what a little bird is telling me.
Well, I believe the little bird is telling you right. I literally had actually just scrolled that to that portion here. So yeah, definitely make sure you guys are back here for that. We're gonna get into there, but for now, as you had already said, Shep, that is going to be a Monarchy convicted of murder. You guys have yourself a wonderful evening. If we don't catch you back for the 9 o'clock game, don't forget, man, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. All right. That's Chef. I'm Q. Have a good night.
Bye. We'll see you later. Be there.